You want to talk about stolen election? Donald Trump stole that election in 2016. You want to talk about stolen election? Donald Trump stole that election in 2016.
There are like 7.
Hey, get out!
No, there's 7 people.
Get out! Come on.
They're mostly female. Different colors.
Watch out! Oh! Hey! Don't be recording though. Yeah, you so
looking at here as we pull this up.
Same basic thing.
It looks like the same Dropbox.
Everybody, look at all those people doing the right thing.
So they're waiting to vote early.
To vote in line.
Right?
Right.
So this is a maroon dress woman, or is this somebody else?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's...
Is that your mule?
That's our
That's
mule.
her.
So this is a mule.
In front of everyone.
Okay.
Look, everybody's sitting there watching like, what?
So this
What's
is
happening?
right now as she opens it up. Can't figure out how to open up because they won't fit.
Right.
Felony at what point?
After the
Right
first
there.
one.
Now it's a felony. So this is a felon. 3 felons at one Dropbox, everybody. I want you to think about that. One after the other. In the broad daylight. I mean, now you could also get driver's, license plate info and stuff, right?
Yes.
So she, in broad daylight, while everyone else was watching, just violated Georgia law.
Right.
Development. I also volunteer much of my time in my community supporting Hospice Portlanders through direct outreach and also social development.
Justin Trudeau is going on vacation, but there is a major issue with that. Let me explain it to you. So Justin Trudeau consulted the ethics commissioner before departing on his vacation, but the only issue with that is that the ethics commissioner resigned in April 2023, and the position is still vacant. Now the reason why Justin Trudeau never filled that position, and the reason why it's still vacant, is because their office cannot undertake any investigations without the ethics commissioner. So Justin Trudeau can do unethical things and not have any investigations. So it just shows the absolute insanity and corruption of the Liberal government and Justin Trudeau. So,
ma'am, don't steal the sign. You can't steal the sign. You're on camera stealing a sign. Sam! Officers, he's stealing the sign.
All I did was I just walked it over here. I was going to give it back to him.
Well, I don't know that, man. I didn't know that. I came over here and then you rested against the sign. So listen, we need to make it difficult to call the scene. Take your backpack off. Turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
I cannot believe this is
Right now, I'm asking you to do that.
Is there something else that I can do?
So she's sort of going into this mode to where she thinks she can talk herself out of it. She thinks there must be a way out of this. I do not have to be responsible for what I just did.
Just FYI, the solution wasn't created to get rid of the problem. The problem was intentionally created to implement the solution. And only when you wake up to this truth, you will see the magnitude of evil behind the agenda and the people behind it.
Look at the photograph below. My name is Kevin J. Johnston, and that's me running for mayor of Calgary in 2021. They could not handle the fact that I was pretty much going to win the election, so they locked me up in prison for 7 weeks during the campaign and slandered me using every newspaper in the country. They are doing the exact same thing to Donald Trump right now. They don't want him running in the next election because they know he's going to win. And they also know that all of you know the election was stolen and that you're all going to be paying attention a whole lot more to what's going on next election. So they have decided to fill up his schedule fighting ridiculous RICO charges and charges that aren't even really charges. He didn't break the law in any case. Just like me, they had me fighting court cases at least 6 hours a day. I couldn't campaign. They're trying to interfere with his campaign and steal another election, this time using what's called lawfare. You gonna put up with that, America?
Hey, I don't know if you've picked up on this yet, but they're going to keep setting fires until we submit to their climate agenda. They're going to keep arranging shootings till we submit to their gun control agenda. And they'll keep creating scamdemics until they have complete control over your medical decisions. Please stop falling for their BS.
This Georgia DA is trying to do in Fulton County is scare attorneys from taking cases.
That's exactly
correct.
correct.
And that is not America. That is Russia. That is, and that's not even maybe even Russia today. That's communist Russia. That's like Stalinism.
I read this thing twice last night, once this morning. I am incensed by the allegation of 41 counts, most of which are lawyers doing their job, saying that the lawyers were involved in a racketeering, influence, corrupt organization scheme on the election, and they were advocating legal positions. The practice of law now is dangerous if you're representing a movement. And I've represented movements my whole life. And I think this is one of the greatest attacks on liberty we have seen in our lifetime. They figured it out, the left. Go after the lawyers. If you can go after the lawyers, you end the fight. We're supposed to be the bulletproof vest of our clients. You can't do that when they're threatening you and putting you in jail.
Represent Donald Trump, you're also a criminal. Take that theory further. If they get away with doing this time, again, people won't be able to find attorneys.
These lawyers are losing their personal liberty for representing a client who happened to be the President of the United States.
The Prime Minister has accused you of drumming up fear and anger in the Canadian public, suggesting the way you're doing politics is dangerous for Canadians. You're trying to soften your image. Are you concerned about the idea that you are being portrayed to Canadians as angry?
I think that the people who can't pay their rent would realize that whether I told them or not. Do you really think that the single mother who has seen her rent go up by 100% under Trudeau wouldn't have noticed if I didn't say it? Do you think the 1.5 million people who are forced to go to food banks because Trudeau's driven their food prices up so much wouldn't have noticed if I didn't say it out loud? Do you think the 35-year-old who would have easily been able to afford a home in his 20s when I was the minister responsible, but is now stuck in his parents' basement, wouldn't have noticed that he's living in a basement had I not said it? Do you think that the 500 people who came out to a crime town hall in Timmins because they no longer feel safe in their community wouldn't have noticed all the crime in their city had I not said it out loud? Justin Trudeau and some of his supporters in the media are really concerned that Canadians are angry with him. I'm concerned that Canadians can't afford to live and that they're not safe in their communities. Justin Trudeau is upset that I'm saying things are broken. Maybe he should stop breaking them.
In 1971, Saul Alinsky wrote Rules for Radicals. Hillary Clinton did her thesis on it. Barack Obama did his community organizing according to the plan in this book. This book will teach you how the left fights. It is the leftist fighting manual. This is where they teach people how to accuse the opposition of what it is that they're doing. This is why we're seeing the left accusing the right exactly of the things that they are doing. This implementation of Marxist doctrine has started here in the 50s, actually, in the United States, with their the four phases, which are demoralization, that takes 12 to 15 years. We're now in generation number 3. Destabilization, 2 to 5 years, kicked in high gear in 2008. Crisis stage, up to 6 weeks. We saw that with the BLM riots. And then normalization, when the government steps in and says, we will fix it for you.
I don't have much further need for Hollywood myself. I don't know how you guys feel, but yeah, I think it's a very strange, funny time where everybody would love to be able to be themselves, but they can't because they must fall in line with the person in front of them. You want to live that kind of life, I wish you the best. I'll be on the other side somewhere.
And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe have to, they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
I'm a reporter in New York City, and this is what I'm covering this Monday morning. I took this video at around 4:30 this morning outside the Roosevelt Hotel in Manhattan on 45th Street. This is actually on 46th Street, but I'm just showing on this side to show the line of migrants that are sleeping on the sidewalk. Now, these are asylum seekers. They arrived in New York City a couple of days ago, hoping to get processed at the Roosevelt Hotel. Now, this was an iconic hotel. It's been in movies, but it shut down about 3 years ago and reopened earlier this year as an intake center for asylum seekers. Now, this weekend, they were at capacity, so these migrants were left to sleep on the sidewalk. You can see the only thing separating them from the concrete is cardboard. Except for these folks here, you can see them sleeping right on the concrete, right on the sidewalk directly. If you've been following news out of New York City, you know that this isn't new. This has been happening for the past couple of months. There have been more than 93,000 asylum seekers that have arrived here in the city.
Michigan's House passes bill making wrong pronoun use a felony? Well, I guess it's time to move. I know I've said this a lot, but this is probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen. This literally goes against our First Amendment right. On top of that, be honest with yourself. Even you supporters of this movement, you don't actually think these people are the things they're saying they are. And you've gone along with it so much, so far, that things like this are happening. What's even crazier is I've never even once been in a situation where I've been around someone who uses different pronouns, where I could even say the pronouns wrong because I don't hang around crazies. But you mean to tell me that if I somehow find myself in that situation in the future and I accidentally say the wrong pronoun, it's a freaking felony? Get out of here. Like I said earlier, no one actually even believes this nonsense. But you've loved and accepted your way into a ditch. Because with this community, as stated many times before, if you give them an inch, they take a mile. They don't want love, they don't want acceptance, they don't want tolerance, they want compliance. Obey us. That's it. Exhibit A, this bill passing in the House. Utterly ridiculous. Stay triggered, my friends.
Can someone explain to me what the hell is happening? We just had a governor sign for illegals to become cops so they can arrest American citizens for doing illegal things, but they're here illegally. What the hell am I missing? I mean, seriously, as a farmer, I'm just waiting for the government to send me a message letting me know I have to only, use Brawndo as a way of growing crops. This is absolute insanity.
Have you seen this wild video captured by Viral News NYC? This is New York City, where you've got illegals strewn all about the streets. They're all over the sidewalks. They're going to the bathroom there. They're sleeping there. They're taking up hotel rooms. People can't even go and visit the city now. Keep in mind, this city has received fewer than 100,000 illegals. During the time, we've seen 7 million plus illegally cross into Texas mostly, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. New York City, the greatest city in the land, who said we're a sanctuary city, everybody's welcome. Remember, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, said everybody's welcome here. They're freaking the hell out because of fewer than 100,000. And now they're begging Washington, D.C. for help after not doing anything, not lifting a finger, not a pinky toe, to help out Texas and other states. Come on!
Georgia grand jury returning a 41-count indictment against the former president and 18 others in front of the cameras in court. And she wants to do it within 6 months, putting this case on a direct collision course with the Republican primaries. And the former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton weighing in last night. Watch.
Madam Secretary, fancy meeting you here.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, this is not the circumstances in which I expected to be talking to you.
Nor me, Rachel. It's always good to talk to you, but honestly, I didn't think that it would be under these circumstances. Yet another set of indictments.
I don't feel any satisfaction. I feel great, just great, profound sadness that we have a former president who has been indicted for so many charges that went right to the heart of whether or not our democracy would survive.
So a couple of things. One of the questions Rachel Maddow has in one of her statements was, we have to get to the point where every time we lose an election, we say they say it's illegitimate.
Well, Georgia, specifically Fulton County, Fani Willis, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, two-tier justice system. It wasn't but 2 weeks ago that President Trump truthed out only one more indictment to secure the 2024 election. Well, thank you on behalf of every patriot, every constitutional conservative, for making America's President Donald J. Trump, a martyr. This is a ridiculous display of government overreach, two-tier justice system, and just the vile nature of the Democrat Party. So, thank you. And also going after America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and bringing RICO charges, really? Mob boss charges? Okay. We got you. We see you. See you on the 25th, Trump 2024.
Start showing your students some respect. We are not interested in knowing what you think about sex or gender. We will make up our own minds about that by using critical thinking. We don't need to know what you think, and definitely do not need you ramming your opinions down our throats. So please keep these things to yourselves. We don't want to know. We do not go to school to learn about sex. We, the people, we must get these tyrants out of our government. These tyrants find it impossible to leave us all alone to get on with our own lives. It's one disaster after another with these disgusting tyrants, and we don't want them. Any church, any bishop or archbishop, priest, vicar, whether in Canterbury, Coventry, or anywhere else in the UK, who remains in support of this evil transgender propaganda, you have also been deceived and have fallen for Satan's deception. And to those I say this: live in accordance with the word of God, or leave the church now.
Come on. 100%.
Because 10 of electoral votes cast by Florida were cast by electors not lawfully certified.
I object to the votes from the state of Wisconsin, which should not be legally certified.
No debate.
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the electoral votes were not.
There's no debate.
And I object to the certificate from the state of North Carolina.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object.
I object to the certificate from the state of Alabama. The electors were not lawfully certified.
Is it signed by a senator?
Not as of yet, Mr. President.
In that case, the objection cannot be entertained. The objection cannot be entertained. Debate is not in order.
Even with the
There is no debate in order. Is it signed by a senator? There is no debate. There is no debate in the joint session. There is no debate. There is no debate. There is no debate. Please come to order. The objection cannot be received. Section 18, Title 3 of the United States Code prohibits debate in the joint session.
I do not wish to debate. I wish to ask, is there one United States senator who will join me in this letter
There
of
is no
rejection?
debate. There is no debate. The gentleman, because 10 of the 29 electoral votes.
All the holidays that feel that they're like getting judged or ridiculed or whatever. Where are you bringing your law? To a bar? To pick up chicks? To a surf break that's already too crowded? I've never seen anybody get beat up in a law. You know, you show up to a community work day with a law. Phew. Watch how many friends you get. Watch you break down all those walls of what you thought a Hawaiian was and how you thought they viewed you.
Barack has led by example. When we took our trip to Africa and visited his home country in Kenya, Barack has led by example. When we took our trip to Africa.
These guys just won a climate change trial against US state. They're all young climate activists. They said Montana was responsible for climate change affecting them. Basically, a state law back in 2011 made it illegal for new projects to consider the impact on climate when doing an environmental review. And that's what the young activists targeted with their lawsuit. They argued they were guaranteed a clean and healthy environment by the state's constitution. And during the trial, they showed the court evidence that carbon dioxide emissions were linked to hotter temperatures and wildfires. Then they said that could harm their mental and physical health, and the district judge agreed with them. They said the state's approval of fossil fuel permits was unconstitutional because they don't evaluate greenhouse gas emissions. But the state attorney general does plan to appeal. They said the ruling was absurd and said Montanans couldn't be blamed for changing the climate.
It's mind-boggling why they're not stopping to let these people off the car. And then someone fell off. Okay, joining us now is Bob Boyce.
It's mind-boggling why they're not stopping for the angry mob that jumped onto their car and started dancing on the hood. Are you fucking kidding me? Hold on, let me change my hat. Well, Janet, you see, what we have here is something that we like to call hostile act, hostile intent. If I'm driving through the city and an angry mob jumps onto my car and starts doing the river dance on my hood, they have just rolled the dice on a little thing we like to play called City Block Survivor. And they're going for a fucking ride. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't stop until every one of them skipped down the road on the friggin' face. Get out of here. And in Texas, you do that shit, I'm legally authorized to shoot you. Especially if my children are in the car. I'm not going to fucking roll my window down and be like, hey guys, I still got some payments left on this thing.
They're ungrateful. They really don't want to be here. They've been uprooted from their families. But Jan, it's more serious than that. Some of these Democratic advocates who advocated for the migrants that come now have realized that some of the migrants are raping their employees at the hotel. They reached out to Mayor Adams, said this is unacceptable. Our workers are being threatened. We've got to get this under control. Crime is being committed. Drugs are being smoked in the hotel, and they're having sex in the stairwell. It's just so out of control. And you're talking about 2,000 people being set up in a tent in certain parks. You're talking about retrofitting soccer fields where high school kids would play football to accommodate more of these migrants. And a lot of the parents said, we don't want our kids exposed to this. It's just too dangerous. And there are too many unknowns about who exactly we're giving attention to.
They tell you the water is rising when they own beachfront homes. They scream global warming when they're flying in private jets. They tell you save the environment when they're using child labor to dig up cobalt. Because you're much easier to control when your life depends on electricity.
I am giving the defendants the opportunity to voluntarily surrender no later than noon on Friday, the 25th day of August, 2023.
The clock is ticking. DA Fani Willis giving Donald Trump, Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, and the 16 other co-defendants charged in the RICO indictment here in Fulton County until August 25th to surrender voluntarily. So what happens if they don't come in voluntarily? Well, the law in the state of Georgia is you're going to be arrested. You'll be taken into custody. You'll be put in jail. Fani Willis talked about the process. Well, that's the process here in the state of Georgia. And it's just the same for any person who's been charged with a crime in the state.
The Biden's well-publicized electric bus company Proterra is filing bankruptcy. One of their board members is somebody we know. Energy Secretary Granholm, who conveniently sold the $1.5 million in stock before bankruptcy.
Granholm is a connected Democrat, was the governor of Michigan. So she gets the board appointment, gets the stock, sells it 2 years before it goes bankrupt. You see the pattern of insider trading. All this is about is people like Granholm enriching themselves.
It's a classic pump and dump.
Hispanics are leaving the Democratic Party in massive droves. Here's how the media responds to it.
Understand this. American gun owners are the only thing that are keeping the New World Order from completing the Great Reset. The left will never stop trying to disarm Americans.
Well, how about this? Native American groups are going to be doing a national boycott if the Washington football team doesn't change its name back to the Redskins. You mean they weren't offended by the name? You're telling me all these pink and purple-haired white liberal hippies who think they're doing stuff in the name of social justice actually don't know anything about other groups, ethnicities, nationalities, backgrounds? You know, like their struggles or plights or the things that they go through and what might actually offend them. Huh, weird.
Let's remember what Fani Willis ran when she was running for DA. She said, "I'm out to get Trump." He goes, I'm gonna pursue Trump. I mean, so this thing has been in the making for a very long time. But as it relates to the criminal organization, those are the words they're using, that this was a criminal organization and an enterprise, a criminal enterprise. Are you kidding me? We have now gotten to a point in America where if you question an election, and more than that, if you question the media or government narrative, if you don't believe what they tell you to believe, then all of a sudden you're part of a criminal organization and an enterprise. And that should scare the bejesus out of every single American, Republican, Democrat, animal, vegetable, or mineral.
Y'all parents are dumber than you. I'm going to say that out loud.
Great English.
My parents are freaking dumb. Okay? And the minute I figured that out, the world opens up.
Idea of purity and you're never compromised and you're always politically woke and all that stuff, you should get over that quickly. People who do really good stuff have flaws. People who you are fighting may love their kids. One danger I see among young people, particularly on college campuses, among certain young people, and this is accelerated by social media, there is this sense sometimes of the way of me making change is to be as judgmental as possible about other people. And that's enough. Like if I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right or used the wrong verb, or then I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself because, man, you see how woke I was? I called you out. That's not activism. That's not bringing about change. You know, if all you're doing is casting stones, you're probably not going to get that far. That's easy to do.
So I misunderstand. Are we saying that 2 + 2, if you say it's 4, that's racist? I mean, that sounds like we may be mischaracterizing it. What, if you can quickly sum it up?
No, that's not mischaracterizing it at all. Math is basically racist under this ideology because it says there is no such thing as an objective reality. So 4 might not be the right number. 2 + 2 might actually equal 5.
What?
You were right. We did it.
Dude, I was trying to tell you. I couldn't say much.
You were right.
You just have to watch my chat. Is this not going to be the best film you've ever made in your life? But it's all fake. My face is not on Instagram. I learned that shit already. I'm gonna wear a Trump hat. I bought one today. I was wearing a Trump hat at the fucking at the Trump rally during the daytime because I was like, nah, that shit ain't happening, bro. Yeah, I was. Oh yeah, I was just a journalist, but I use that all the time. Yeah, I'm just a journalist. I'm here recording. I got my camera on my shoulder. Literally have my big ass camera on my shoulder right here.
Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not malicious.
Today, by firing or moving most of his cabinet, Justin Trudeau has admitted that after 8 years of inflationary spending that has exploded the cost of living, 8 years of carbon taxes that drive up your gas, heat, and groceries, 8 years of catch and release policies that make our streets dangerous, and 8 years of doubling the cost of housing, his government is a failure. It's funny, though. The one minister who's responsible for these failures didn't get moved, and that minister is Justin Trudeau. And he did not fire the one minister who is most responsible. That minister is the Prime Minister, and he needs to be fired and replaced with a new common sense conservative prime minister. And that prime minister will be me. And I will be honored to serve the people of Canada